Welcome to the True Demon Lord show. I am the True Demon Lord, Franco, and today we are going to be looking or starting another series. This time we're going to be looking at each of the six stratagems that are available to us in our demonic invasion detachment, which is our only detachment at the moment. So we're just going to go into each one in 6 different videos. I'm going to basically give you some tips and tricks and show you some different things you can do with this stratagem, getting the most out of it basically, and maybe just some, I don't want to say high level, but maybe some tactics with these strats that you maybe haven't thought of in your game. Because of course, it's a very simple one. It does what it does, and you may just think you're just going to use it to get closer, but instead we're going to show you just some different ways to get some more benefits out of it. So before we get into the rest of the video, if you like the content we make here, please leave a like and subscribe. It is free and it helps out the channel massively and helps us to continue to grow and reach more and more demon players, which is what this channel is all about. It's about helping the demon player. And then on top of that, if you really like the content and you want to further contribute and gain some cool benefits, then consider becoming a true denizen through our YouTube memberships, where you get into the member exclusive Discord, which will allow you to do things such as have a say and be able to vote in different polls on the future content that we do for the channel, and have more of an input, basically have your mark on the channel and what I do. You'll get member exclusive videos where we will do even more real deep dive, real tactical stuff, and coaching to an extent. And then some other really cool benefits that you will see on the membership page and all that kind of stuff. So so let's get straight into it. So Warp Surge is one of our 6 stratagems. And basically you use it 1 CP in the charge phase. You can pick a unit that advanced this turn and that unit can still charge. So it isn't something you have to use at the start of the fight phase. The start of the charge phase. It is just when you pick the unit. So you can kind of have a little bit of freedom with it. But it is very good. Now, of course, the most simple, straightforward way is you want to get a closer charge, or you want to get a bit more movement around a bit of terrain. So you throw an advance and then you charge afterwards. And yeah, it's very simple, right? But what we are going to do is we are going to show you some different ways to get just a few more benefits out of it. So as you can see here, we've set up a kind of a game going on. We've set up a few different scenarios that we are just going to talk you through. So as you can see, we've set up Space Marines versus, of course, demons. And we've again set up a few different scenarios. So let's start with this one up in this top left corner. So as you can see, we've got Shalaxi, right? Well, she wants to come and get this objective, which have some Blade Guard with a Judicia on the objective. And we've obviously got these 5 guys here. So our opponent has basically screened us or move blocked us. So now that we're going to show you 2 different examples here in this situation. But the first one will be, we've been move blocked, but we need to get to that objective. We need to take it off them, deny our opponent primary points. Maybe we got overwhelming force or storm hostile objective or something like that. So, of course, Shalaxi has a nice 14-inch movement, which is a good amount of movement. So she's going to move and she's going to get to about there. That's 8 and then another 6 inches. So, that's still a big, beefy charge. That is probably a good 8 to 9 inch charge. Now, of course, a character in the unit, she'll get to reroll the charge roll. But that's still not great. So we're going to throw our advance. We're going to get a 3-inch advance, which is a lot better. It's not amazing, but it's still better. That's now more of a 6-inch charge. That is the most simple way to do it. Then we make our charge. We get to reroll it so we fail it. Boom. We are in combat. And Shalaxi can now start making mincemeat of that unit. Now, the other thing we can do with this is, say we're in the similar position, but the blocking unit doesn't matter here. Let's actually give her a different position. Let's say she's more this way. So as you can see, we've got a character here. Our opponent's been quite smart. They've positioned them behind the wall in a bit of a hidden spot. So now, they cannot be precisioned with either the epic challenge stratagem, or she actually has innate precision on her soul piercer, because precision requires line of sight. We've drawn assassinate. We need to kill this character. The game is very close. Like, the points are very, very close. So we need to draw as much points as we can. And we either have already swapped out secondary, or we haven't got enough. We need to use our CP elsewhere. This is the only character available for us to kill. The rest are way too far away, or dead, or in the air, or whatever. So again, similar to what we did there, we are going to make our movement. Let's say we end up getting a little bit further away, but we really, really need to get to that character. So we can chuck an advance. The reason we're going to do that is, let's say we get a 4. So now we're a lot closer. The reason being, if we had kept the normal charge, say 7-inch charge, and we roll a 7 or an 8, we might not get enough movement to be able to now see the character. Whereas now we are like 4 inches closer. It means a 7-inch charge will instead get us to say about here, which now means, of course, she can now see the character. So again, a little bit rough, but you can get the idea. We're using this extra bit of movement to not make the charge shorter, but in the attempt of still getting an average 7-inch charge. But it means we now get into a different position, meaning we can now draw a line of sight on the character. We now can use our precision because we can see the character, we can draw a line of sight to it, we kill it, we get our 5 points on assassination. So there are 2 examples. First one, getting around the move block. Second one, getting into a position to be able to use precision. So some very important uses of Warp Surge there. The next one we are going to use in relation to a positional secondary. So a positional secondary is a secondary that requires you to be in a position. For example, area denial requires you to be in the middle. Behind enemy lines requires you to be in the opponent deployment zone. Engage on all fronts requires you to be in quarters, etc., etc. So we've drawn behind enemy lines, and for whatever reason, we either didn't go up and down because we wanted to save our CP, or we have some units in reserves, but we need them in other positions. So, and again, we really need to draw as many points from this game as we can because it's very close. Well, we've got a unit of aggressors here. Now, this can double up in the fact that they are on their home objective. In this example, there's nothing else on the home objective. There probably will be another unit back here, but let's just say, for example, we can kind of 2 birds, 1 stone this. We want to get in the opponent's deployment zone for behind enemy lines, but then we can also say we want to take our opponent's objective, either stopping them from getting, say, defense stronghold, or just taking primary off them in general, or even burden of trust. If, you know, they're guarding the backfield, we can take the unit objective off them or kill the unit and starve them of those 2 points. So we are quite far away. We're going to make our 12-inch movement, and we are probably going to land about there. Now, again, with a bit of terrain in the way, it is going to cause us a little bit of an issue. So we're going to land about there. We're still quite far away. That's still a large charge. We're going to throw an advance, and we're going to get, say, let's go with a 4-inch charge, because again, it's just a little bit above average, or around about the average point. And as you can see now, there is a nice, easier charge. So we then make our charge. Now, of course, with Warp Surge, you must be in the shadows. And as you can see, our opponent has these 2 objectives. So a couple of things you can do here is either try and take the objectives in the movement phase, or get onto the objectives and then maybe shoot something so you can take it in the shooting phase. But if that's just not possible because your opponent just has too much OC, or you're just not able to get to another objective, we do have a Keeper of Secrets here. She can make a move around, and then she can also give her shadows out. Let's say we've got area denial and behind enemy lines, even if the Keeper was in reserves. Let's say we wanted the Keeper to be the one to do area denial, because again, she has the most, you know, she's very likely to stick around in most cases. So we can always drop her down. Let's say she managed to get outside of 9 inches and she's dropped within 6 of the Fiend. So now she can give her shadow bubble out. Let's say she has to Denizens of the Warp for the 3-inch deep strike. So that's going to be a CP to drop her down. But again, we can get her in that space to be able to do the 6-inch deep strike. Now, again, if you didn't draw area denial, you could still do it, and you could do something like this with a 3-inch deep strike. Obviously, here it looks a bit closer, but for example. So then we're kind of two bird, one stoning again by getting another unit in the backfield while also giving out the shadows to the fiends. So make sure that you are remembering you need the shadows for this. You can't charge them without that. Obviously, all the greater demons and Bellicott are always in the shadows. So we're going to make our charge. We're going to roll a nice 7, and we're just going to get in here. And again, be able to get our piling consolidation, get wholly in. Now, of course, don't make this charge into something that could kill a unit like the Fiends. Like if you're going to charge a super combat unit, yeah, it's going against the whole point. And again, aggressors are not bad in combat, but the Fiends will probably pick up 1 to 2 of these aggressors if they roll half decent to not so half decent. If they roll very well, they can definitely pick up all of them. But again, if they manage to kill, even knocking them down to 2 aggressors, Fiends can maybe weather the storm. You just need 1 Fiend to survive to get you behind. Obviously, if you're trying to take the objective, then you maybe have to think, can the Fiends get enough and then not die in return, etc., etc. Now, the next example, and probably the last example, I think, is we're going, well, again, we're going to show you 2 different examples here. The first one being our opponent has a lot on this objective. They've got 6 eradicators. They've also got 5 intercessors. That's a lot of OC. We really, really need to take this objective. We really need to starve our opponent of points or score something by overwhelming force, whatever it may be. Now, of course, the Bloodthirster is quite far away, so we are going to make his 12-inch move, which is going to get us to about there. As you can see, it's still very far. Now, for this example, these guys are going to be within an inch of this wall. You know, it's just because of the way the terrain is set up. In the real game, they probably might not be, or different terrain, meaning, you know, you're not going to have this restriction. But just for the sake of this example, we're just going to treat them like they're within an inch of the wall, so we just have to get within an inch of the wall. Now, again, we want to be able to maximize what we can get onto this objective. So the idea is we are going to drop something 6 inches away using the Bloodthirster's shadow bubble, and then have 2 units charged onto this objective, the Bloodthirster, and in this case, Blood Crushers. Well, I'll put the Blood Crushers. They're up here. They're up here. Let's bring them down. So we want to double charge this objective so we can just take as much, well, hit them as hard as we can, kill as many models on it, and get as much OC on it as possible. So we are now going to throw our advance. We get, let's say, a 4-inch charge, 4-inch advance, sorry. That's now going to make it probably a 6 to 7-inch charge. And then we can, you know, bring our reserves in. Let's get them in a better position so we can actually drop them. And then again, obviously you don't want to block out your Bloodthirster's charge, because that's going against what you're trying to do. But you know, the whole point is you want to get as many guys 6 inches away as possible, so you can then get as many guys on the objective as you can. And like we said, the reason for this is, again, we need to take this objective, and we've got quite a tight spot here, which I like. It means we can really kind of show you the hardest way to do it. Obviously, if you've just got a clear run, no terrain in the way, just straight onto the objective, then you don't have to worry about, you know, terrain. You can kind of bring the Blood Crushers around the Bloodthirster here, so on both sides. But obviously, in this case, we need to be careful. Now, obviously, you could do that if you really wanted to, and then double charge the Blood Crushers into both the Eradicators and the Intercessors, but you have to be careful in this case because they can't go through walls. So if you roll a bit of a dodgy one, you're going to be stuck, you're going to lose your coherency, so you've got to be careful. Then we end up making our charge. You charge the Bloodthirster in first, because if you charge the Crushers to make a massive charge, you might end up getting in the Bloodthirster's way, and then we charge in the Crushers, and again, we're going to hit them. Obviously, in this case, we're not going to get too many on the objective straight away, but we're going to hope that, of course, our what's it called? Our mortal wounds on the charge is going to do it. Again, I've done this a little bit sloppily, but you know, if we roll big enough, we can get as many guys on to the point and into combat as possible, because you're trying to maximize as much combat as you can here. But you get the general idea of what we're trying to do. Now, let's say we don't care about that, and there is only 1 unit on the objective. Let's take the Blood Crushers away. because we don't need them for this bit. And let's take the intercessors away. And let's say instead we've got just this unit of eradicators, but they are actually going to be in a slightly different position, making the Bloodthirster's life just a little bit harder. So our opponent's played it quite smart. Our Bloodthirster is in, say, a bit of a different position here. Now, and the way we've got his base is actually almost perfect. So we need to get the Bloodthirster this way. We're using the Keeper to score area denial or whatever, and we've got no other assets. The Bloodthirster is going to be anything to deal with this. So, of course, we've got a nice 12-inch movement, and it's actually going to get us this way. Actually, how can I do this? What we are trying to do is basically trying to use the warp surge to get past the base's rotation. So let's say actually they are more in a position like this. This might be slightly better. Maybe we've got area denial, not area denial, no prisoners or something like this. And we really want to kill this unit of eradicators because being able to kill a unit of eradicators is obviously very good. So yeah, let's say we're in a position like this. So we need to get this Bloodthirster around. So obviously we can do a couple things here. We can start them a little bit further back. Let's say the Keepers are more like this. And the Bloodthirster like this. So we want to get the Bloodthirster around. So he's going to come over. He's going to have his 12-inch movement. Now, as you can see, his 12-inch movement takes him there. That's going to make this charge very hard to do because not just are you going to have to get the charge on, but you're going to have to rotate your base, which is essentially going to be a -2 to that charge. So you're looking at a lengthy charge here. So we are going to Warp Surge. Now, what we can do with the Warp Surge here is hopefully roll better than a 1. So if we roll a 2, it's going to give us a 2-inch rotation. So we're going to rotate so we can get in a better position for the charge. But if we roll anything higher, it now means we can basically -2 off that and do the rest in movement. So let's say we roll a 4 again. So slightly, that higher average. So we can use that 2 inches to basically rotate however we want. And we are going to land our 2 inches about there. And then again, obviously we could have done that probably a little bit better. But again, we can use that, land there, and then when we make our charge, we have an easier charge to get on. So we're using Warp Surge to basically get past the whole base rotation thing. Now, of course, on your Keepers, Great Unclean Be'lakor, Shalaxi, they're on circular bases, they don't care. But this will work on the Bloodthirster, this will work on Fiends, this will work on Blood Crushers, because all of them are on oval bases. Obviously, Fiends and Blood Crushers have a smaller base, and they're not they're not a monster or vehicle, so they only have to make a 1-inch rotation. But again, a Warp Surge means you're basically going to ignore the rotation and then maybe get some extra inches of movement if you roll anything above a 1. With the Bloodthirster, you want to roll a 2 to cancel out the rotation, and then anything higher will be extra movement. So again, hopefully you can make out from that we're trying to use the Warp Surge, the Advance, to basically try and bypass or mitigate the rotation, get a little bit extra movement, and have an easier charge to come straight around. So yes, that's just some, I think, maybe more in-depth ways of using your Warp Surge and getting the most with that CP. I think, you can definitely turn games by using that. Again, like in the last turn, maybe you're 4 points down or 3 points down, and you manage to score your other secondaries, but you've got Assassinate. If you can score it, you'll win the game. Being able to advance charge with something, get line of sight, and then be able to precision out could, again, win you that game. And then also potentially give you, an objective in some cases, depending. And also remember, if you draw something like Overwhelming Force, if the character themselves is in a unit, but the model itself is on an objective, if you poke out and kill the character, even if you don't kill the other models in the unit, that will still give you a point for Overwhelming Force, because character units, attached characters, are classed as separate units for the purposes of points and stuff like that. So same with no prisoners. If you kill a unit with a character, that's going to give you 2 marks and no prisoners, so 4 points. If you kill a unit and a character attached to that unit for Overwhelming Force, that's again going to give you 5 points and Overwhelming Force. So yes, like we said, we've showed you how to kind of use Warp Surge to get around move blocks, use Warp Surge to get yourself in a better position to be able to use that precision, using it to get you into play for positional secondaries like behind enemy lines, engage, etc., etc. Using it to be able to maximize, a double charge by being able to move a greater demon forward and drop out another unit of the same god within 6 inches, or Bellicor can drop out anyone. And it's not just one unit, you can do that on multiple, like the Bloodthirster could have dropped out Scarbrand on the other side of the wall, plus the Blood Crushers on the right side of the wall, and then you would have got loads of charges in that way. And it also then means you're also not just using them as a delivery system, but also being able to allow that unit to charge as well. So the Bloodthirster isn't just going to move forward, spit out some Crushers, let them charge in. By getting closer, it now means he's going to also be able to get the charge, and the Bloodthirster shooting is inconsequential. You don't care about it. It's just a flamer. So you're just going to charge him, and that's where the damage is going to come from him. So yes, so hopefully you're able to get, some ideas from that. It helps you maybe take that play to the next level for yourselves. And maybe now in your next few games or your next tournament, you might come across these type of situations and maybe remember, oh, I could use warp surge like this because of this video. And that's awesome. And if you have any games where you use warp surge because of this and use some of these examples, and whether it helps you or not, but especially if it helps you, then let us know, because I'm always happy to see that my videos are helping people out, helping them become better at the game or have a better understanding of demons, and helping them even win games to an extent as well, which is awesome. So yes, I think that will do for now. This is the first one of this little series where I'm going to delve deep into each of the stratagems. We've kind of done it a little bit with Realm of Chaos and Denizens, but we're going to do it again, and just show you different ways to use it. Some of them, maybe Demonic and Vulnerability, might have less play and will be shorter videos, but I want to really delve in and just basically focus on each stratagem, maybe just pull out some of the ideas I use in game, because you never know that you might not even thought of those type of things you could do, and then again, it helps you out, and that's what this channel is all about. So thank you for tuning in. Please leave a like and subscribe if you like this content and you want to keep up to date with everything. And if you want to further, support the channel, then check out the True Denizens for the YouTube membership for some extra benefits. And check out Facebook and Instagram, where you can keep up to date with everything from channel uploads and updates, my gaming updates, how I get on at tournaments. We've got the World Championships. I'm filming this before the World Championships. This is probably going to come out after the World Championships or during the World Championships. I can't remember. I haven't decided what week this is getting released. But either way, it's either currently going on or it's already over. So look out for the video on that when we get that released, as well as we go over all 8 of our games. So thank you for tuning in. We will catch you all in the next one.